I'm going to go ahead and push record. There's the little recording light in the top left. So exciting. Love to be on camera. My name is Heather Ayer, and I have my coworker Marcus Jackson here with me. We are fairly new to the ACLU of Kentucky. We both started in the middle of quarantine, and it was back in the middle of July. So we are excited to be here. We're excited to get our webinar series up and running. This first one that we're having right now is they're all focused on restoration of voting rights, but this one is more so focused on the executive order and who is included in that and who is not. We will have two more webinars. One is going to be on October 1st and one will be on October 15th. And the second will be the one that's on October 1st. That will be focused on voter registration and like really making sure that people are registered. It'll be 4 days before registration deadline, and then also voter education, the different ways to vote, because then that will also be 8 days before the portal closes to request your mail-in ballot. The final webinar will be October 15th, and that will be very much focused on our efforts to get out the vote. That will be an explanation of what GOTV is in a traditional campaign and the way we are going to be using it. So that's kind of our three-part series. We're going to record each one and send it out to all of you all and put it on Facebook. So that's what you have to look forward to. I'm going to share my screen because I have a PowerPoint, so you don't have to just like stare at me the whole time. You can look at a PowerPoint. If you all have any questions during this, you can put it in the chat. Marcus is going to be monitoring that for me, and because I cannot multitask. So he's going to let me know if there are any questions, and we will do our best to answer them. And if we cannot answer them on the webinar, we will do research and get those answers to you. So again, thanks for taking the time to be here and to listen. And feel free to ask any questions again in the chat. If you just want to send them directly to Marcus, if you don't want to put them out for everyone, feel free to do that, either one. So I'm going to start sharing my screen, and here we go. I'm going to ask if you can see my screen. Marcus, am I good? Can I get a perfect? Okay, now let's do, gonna present. So sorry. Slideshow from beginning. Can you all see it? Does it look normal and everything? Okay, cool. Still getting new to technology and doing all of this virtually. So thanks for bearing with me. So this is our Restored Kentucky voter registration education webinar. This is the hashtag that Marcus thought up, and we think it's catchy and a good way to make sure that we are putting the work that we're doing out onto social media. So if you ever are volunteering with us or anything and want to use the hashtag RestoredKY, you can absolutely do that. So here are our wonderful presenters, Marcus and myself. Like I said, my name is Heather Ayer. I'm the campaign coordinator for the ACLU of Kentucky. Marcus Jackson, my coworker, partner in like everything that we're doing. So that is exciting. I am from Kentucky. I'm from Frankfort. I currently live here in Frankfort. I'm going to be moving to Louisville soon. I've worked on political campaigns the past couple of years, and I'm really excited to be with the ACLU of Kentucky and getting to focus on restoration of voting rights. So that is that. Marcus, do you want to introduce yourself? Or are you good with just like, Marcus also lives here in Kentucky?
Yes,
I mean,
I'm
in Frankfort.
Yes, I'm Marcus Jackson, Smart Justice Organizing Coordinator. I live in Frankfort currently. Prior to joining the ACLU of Kentucky, I was a paralegal with the Little Urban League doing criminal background expungements. I have a strong passion for criminal justice reform, and I have an invested interest in actual voter restoration, voter rights restoration. So yeah, that's what I love doing what I do.
Thanks, Marcus. Yeah, so we are both focused primarily on restoration of voting rights, and not just for this coming up election on November 3rd, although it is very important. We are continuing all of this work past November 3rd and into the 2021 legislative session, whether it's going to be in person or virtual. Here is our agenda. Let me ask before I go further in this, can you all see this like black outline around the presentation? Okay, let me see if I can fix that. I have two screens, so not the best idea. Sorry for the technical difficulties. Let's work. Okay. Okay, there we go. Look at me being the IT technical person. So this is our agenda. We're just gonna go through voting rights restoration, what that is, what that looks like here in Kentucky, who's included in the executive order, how to check your status, the road ahead, and then smart justice advocates. Those are our things that we're gonna be focused on. And then at the very end, I'm happy to answer any questions or hear any ideas that you all have, any feedback on the work that we're doing and how you all can get involved. So let's get started with voting rights restoration. So there was, as I'm sure all of you know, an executive order signed by the governor on December 12th of 2019 that automatically restored voting rights to roughly 175,000 Kentuckians. It does apply to people who are still on probation or parole only because of unpaid fines or restitution. So this was a huge step for Kentucky. We were only one of 2 states that permanently barred people with past felony convictions from voting. The people who work with the ACLU, the people who work at the ACLU, we do believe that it's important that everyone has the right to vote and that they are not deterred from using their right. We have a democracy, and if not everyone can have their voice heard, then it's not working. The way that the government has been created is for a reason. It's working how it was created to work, and right now it's not working for everyone. So it's our goal that this is helping us build a more just and equitable Commonwealth here in Kentucky. The important part of this is that people whose rights were restored, they still need to register to vote. So we have 175,000 Kentuckians out there who can register to vote and vote in this election. We just need to find them and get that information to them. So the good news is that the ACLU of Kentucky, we've got a great resource page on our website to check to see if someone's civil rights were restored. And if they were, they can also use that same page to register to vote. Because like we all know, these people still need to register to vote. It'd be great if we had automatic registration, but unfortunately we don't have that. So it's going to be our job from now through October 5th, and then even after the election, is to encourage these people to go register to vote, and also work with them to explain why it's important to do so when it can feel like the system is maybe working against them some of the time or a lot of the time. Another thing that we are going to be focused on is, while this executive order is very important and very beneficial to a lot of people, it doesn't go far enough. It's not a constitutional amendment. We could have another governor in 4 years decide that that is not going to be the law anymore. And so we are really going to need all the help we can get to push for a constitutional amendment. And by registering people to vote and by engaging as many people across the Commonwealth as possible, we can get there. It's not going to happen tomorrow, but with continued work and encouragement, we've already seen some good bipartisan bills coming into the legislature already. And so we all believe that with the right people and the right amount of work and the right advocacy, we can get there. So that is the executive order. Who all is included in this? 175,000 Kentuckians sounds like a lot, but let's see who all is included. So the rights are automatically restored to people who have past felony convictions, who have completed their full sentence, probation and parole, or who are still on probation or parole because of unpaid fines or restitution. Unfortunately, rights were not restored to people who were convicted of bribery, treason, sex offenses, and some violent offenses as defined by Kentucky law, if they were convicted in a different state, or if they were convicted of federal crimes. Those are important distinctions because we don't want to go out and explain or tell someone that, oh, great, like your voting rights were restored, and then accidentally be giving them incorrect information. That does not instill confidence in us, that they would have confidence in us, and that's just not what we want to do. We are lucky that we do have the list of 175,000 Kentuckians. However, the list does not have full contact information. It has first name, last name, date of birth, and their county of conviction. So that is a big challenge that we are working to overcome. So all of the help we can get to work on that list is wonderful. The other list we have is of around 65,000 Kentuckians whose voting rights were restored, and we do have a bit more contact information on them. So we have 2 good lists that we're working with, but it is going to take effort from everyone on this call and even more people to reach out to all of those individuals and ensure that they are reached. We also have a wonderful voting rights coalition that includes really great organizations all across Kentucky who have been doing this work for years. I see Deb's on here with KFTC. They're a wonderful organization that's also doing this work. So we're lucky that we have so many groups and organizations that are passionate about this, and if it wasn't happening this year, then this is just the year for it to really happen. November 3rd, 2020, very important, but we are going to continue all of this work past then. And I know that all the organizations who are in the voting rights coalition will also continue that work. So we're just one of many organizations doing this, and we welcome anyone from any other organization, and we're all working together and putting in the effort to contact as many people as possible. So how to check either your status or the status of someone you know, if you come across someone, just any ways like that. So you can see if your rights were restored if you go to www.aclu-ky.org/ROVR. You don't have to put the little EN on there. I just didn't know if it would still work. It does work without the EN, just letting you know. ROVR is restoration of voting rights. So that's easy to remember, and a really great resource page. I took a screenshot because I'm super technically savvy. I'm not at all, but this is the screenshot of the website, what it looks like at the top. You can click this blue button right here that says see if your voting rights were restored, and it'll take you directly to the page where you can put in your first name, your last name, and your date of birth, and it'll immediately tell you what your status is. If it says, yes, your voting rights were restored, then you can register to vote on the spot. Again, voter registration deadline, it is October 5th, so it is very soon, sooner than we'd like for it to be. But this is a great resource page. If you scroll down, I can't scroll down because it's a screenshot, but if you scroll down, It will have more information on who's included in the executive order, how to check, how to register to vote, and then also if you, that's actually the next page. So this is what it takes you to when you click on the little blue button that says see if your voting rights were restored. It'll take you to this page, and like we were saying, first name, last name, date of birth. Checking is super easy. Either you need your first name or whoever you're talking to, their first name. You can check other people's status as well. And if you don't have, if someone doesn't have access to internet, they can call this number right here to check on that. Because we know the internet access is not available all across the Commonwealth, which is something that makes voting even more challenging. There's also a button on the previous website, this right here, the aclu-ky.org/ROVR, where if your rights were not restored, you can fill out an application to have your civil rights restored. So if it wasn't covered through the executive order through the governor, you can still petition and get your voting rights back, or another individual. So that is that. The road ahead, we have a lot of work to do and we don't have a ton of time to do it. The deadline to register to vote is October 5th, which is 25 days from today. So in between that time, we are going to have phone banks, text banks, and mailers. I tried to make a little joke there, but I don't know. We're gonna have, yeah, that's what Marcus and I have been working on a ton. Again, we know other organizations are doing this, but we think the more the merrier, because there are so many individuals who deserve to know that their voting rights are restored and hopefully go vote if they choose to do so. One thing that I didn't add onto phone banks, text banks, mailers, oh my, because then it would be 4 things and the joke wouldn't land. But one thing that we are going to be doing as well on election day is having field observers. So if people want to go to polling locations throughout the Commonwealth, in whatever area you live in, we would love to have you do that. That's going to be very important just to ensure that everything's running smoothly at each polling location. If voters have questions or concerns, they'll be able to talk to you directly, and then you will be able to communicate those concerns or questions to the ACLU of Kentucky directly. We won't have to rely on Facebook posts or Twitter things or anything like that. It'll be a direct line of communication so that we are all on the same page and that we are able to help as many people vote as possible, just in case something does happen and someone feels like they are being discouraged from voting, which certainly happens. The deadline to request an absentee ballot is October 9th, which is 29 days from today. That is coming up very quickly after the deadline to register to vote, a little too quickly, but that is why we have a lot of work to do in these next 25 days. Early in-person voting will be starting 3 weeks before Election Day, which is important for people to know if they aren't able to request an absentee ballot in time. We want to ensure that people are voting safely, especially since COVID-19 is still a huge problem. We want to make sure that people are putting their health, making their health a priority and voting when not a ton of other people are there, and that there's social distancing and all that good stuff. Election day is Tuesday, November 3rd, aka my birthday. I'm lucky, my birthday is on election day this year. Wouldn't consider that super lucky, but which is actually 54 days from today. So again, less than 2 months. We are coming up on it very quickly. And then there's more. Our work doesn't stop right after Election Day. We are going to use, need and use all of the volunteer power that we build from now through November 3rd and we're gonna need to direct all of that energy towards the 2021 legislative session. There are a lot of really important bills that are already being written right now, lots of really important legislation that the ACLU is supporting, and we want to ensure that we use our collective power to get those bills passed. And one way to do that is to use the collective power that we are going to be building along with other organizations. So that is why our work is not going to stop after Election Day. So one way to get involved with us is through the Smart Justice Advocates. You all can read for yourselves. I don't want to read every single slide for you, but there are people who've experienced incarceration, the children of parents who experienced incarceration. They are mothers, fathers, daughters, sons, sisters, brothers, aunts, uncles, your neighbors, and your friends. They're LGBTQ+, trans, non-binary, Black, white, brown, in long-term recovery and just starting their recovery journey. They are Kentuckians. They meet the first Thursday of every month, and they have a lot of different types of discussions, including right now they're discussing IDs for individuals leaving incarceration, statewide Brianna's law, voting rights restoration, and persistent felony offender laws. And those are kind of the big areas and like subgroups that then meet like every other week or once a month as well. So that's just one way to get involved. They use their collective power to influence policy decisions being made at the local and state levels. That's what we're talking about when we say that the work doesn't stop after November 3rd. We're not just wanting people to go vote and that's it. Like, we want people to recognize that this is a way to change how their communities are run. Because right now, I don't think that our state represents that. And this is a way to have, again, like a more just and equitable Commonwealth. So you all can join us. Marcus is going to put the volunteer form link in the chat. You can sign up to volunteer with us at any time. It doesn't have to be before November 3rd. We would, of course, love your help between now and November 3rd. Because we have something for everyone to do, especially now that we're all kind of having to get creative during quarantine. We're not going to be knocking on doors before November 3rd. In traditional campaigns, there's lots of canvassing, which some people like, some people don't, but we're just not going to be doing that, unfortunately. You will receive a training on every single volunteer action that you sign up for. You can receive multiple trainings if you want. We want to ensure that you are as comfortable as possible when choosing to volunteer and going out and volunteering. Everything that you will be trained on, you'll be able to use in your own community, not just when there are elections. It feels like this election is so important, and it is very important, but things are still, everything won't be solved by just November 3rd's election. This is going to be ongoing work that we need to continue. And then also, if you have any ideas, we want to hear them. One of the benefits of doing everything virtually and being in quarantine is that we are able to have people from all across the state on calls like this. And we get to hear from people we might not ordinarily get to hear from if we were just having meetings in person in Louisville. And so if you have ideas, if you know of things that work, if you know of things that won't work, we want to know. So that is the PowerPoint. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. I'm happy to send out this email or this PowerPoint to everyone after the presentation. We will also provide training for field observers, which is like the poll observers. We don't know exactly what that will look like, but again, like, we will make sure that you are comfortable and you understand what the role is and anything like that. I was not able to see the chat while I was sharing my screen, so Did I miss anything, Marcus? Any questions, anything like that? If anyone has any questions, you can unmute yourself or put it in the chat. I know that kind of went quickly and it was a lot of me talking, which I'm not entirely used to in quarantine. My voice is already like getting hoarse and weird. So if you have any questions or anything at all, feel free to unmute yourselves or put it in the chat, either one. Again, oh, Angela, got anything?
I was just going to say, this is all really great information. Please do, Marcus already said he'd send the PowerPoint to everyone, and I'll be sure to share this with the Healthy Reentry Coalition folks. And the link to that tool on the ACLU page is fantastic. That's going to be a great tool, and I'll share that on the Healthy Reentry Facebook page too.
Wonderful, thanks so much. That's great to hear. We'll share the PowerPoint with everyone, along with the recording of this whole presentation. And we will also be in touch about like phone banks, text banks, and field observer trainings. We are getting very close to finally launching our text banks and phone banks, and we do think that those will be very beneficial. On the campaigns I've worked on in the past, they've been for like electoral politics, and so people get a little, they're not as open to talking about it because it is about politics, but this is not about politics. We are not telling people how to vote. We are just helping people register and get out to vote in any way that we can. So I'm really excited about that, and we will keep you all updated. I know a few of you have been on other presentations and stuff that we've done, and I keep saying, oh, we're gonna have phone banks and text banks. I promise you we are, and we are getting close to launching that. And once we do, it's going to be very helpful. And again, it's going to be things that we can do from now until the end of time, not just until election day. But yeah, if you can fill out the volunteer form that Marcus put in the chat, that would be incredibly helpful, just so that we are able to get in touch with you more easily and have all of that information in one place. I really very much appreciate you all taking the time to be here tonight, and would be happy to answer any other questions or hear any more of your all's thoughts. And yeah, just super appreciative of all of you all. If you want to learn more about Smart Justice Advocate, you can look on the Facebook page, and I think there's a link, like there's a whole page on our website as well. Thanks, Amelia, I appreciate it. But yeah, if you all don't have any questions, you are welcome to hop off, but I very much appreciate you all being here, and hope that we see you all in volunteer trainings, and that we get to work together from now, again, until the end of time, because it does not stop on November 3rd.